Good morning. Phew. I think I remember them all. This week and with this whole building thing, I gotta tell you, a lot of stuff piles up. Year-end stuff's coming. We're trying to get the building done. We can't get people there on time. We're waiting for the inspection. Runs to the store. We forgot this. Back to Menards. Kent and Julie are going back to Menards again today for, a few last-minute things. Trying to keep a balance with my wife. You got to spend some time. I always preach balance. Wake up this morning, car wouldn't start. Get here and it's cold. I'm a whiner. Right? Now, I'm thinking in my head, I'm struggling. I'm having a bad week. And can we just put some of this in perspective? I have got more than most people can ask for. That's what I want to talk about. Your struggles. We've talked about this before. I got to remind you again. A lot of times our struggles are minimal compared to others. And I think God thinks a little bit like us. Now, I got to tell you, I have to make kind of a disclaimer here. Some of us have had parents that maybe weren't all that loving. But for this analogy, let's just make the assumption that your parents love you. Right? Most parents love their children. Have you ever watched your children go through something? They're struggling with something. It's hard. You don't know whether to try to fix it. You don't know whether to allow it to happen. But it's hard to watch your children or others that you love. Sometimes even children watch their parents struggle with things, and you just feel for them. It's just kind of ripping your heart out. You know what they're going through. You've either been there or known somebody that's been through this before. Don't you think God's like that? When He is watching His children struggle with something. Now, this leads back to what I was trying to tell you. I'm not struggling. Do you know how many people would love to have my old piece of crap car? Now, don't get me wrong. It's not a piece of crap. But you know what I'm saying, right? Just because my battery was dead this morning or the cold weather, whatever it was, and I'm whining. Do you know how many people would love to have a car with a dead battery? Do you know how many people would love to have a group of people like you that would sit down and do year-end books and stuff? And I'm whining. Don't you think God is watching you go through something and feels for you? The love that a parent has for their children, God is a parent. He's a father to those who love Him. He doesn't like to watch His children go through things any more than you do not want to watch your children go through things. And when do you fix it? And when do you allow it? Got to tell you a little story that I'm going to kind of use as we go through this thing. And of course I have to use myself or somebody will be offended. If I told a story about you, you might get mad at me, or you. So I use myself. One time, is Abby in here? I can talk, right? Abby was young. She got her driver's license. We were living in an old farmhouse out on the highway. Weather was bad. And of course, her and Micah had started dating, and she was young. You've all been young and had a driver's license, right? Weather was bad. She was getting ready to go somewhere, and I'm like, Abby, really? The weather's terrible. You shouldn't be going. Oh, she didn't think it was so bad. Right? You done this before? And I said, Abby, don't go. I'm just giving you a warning. Don't go. It's bad. It was icy and snowy. But of course, she's young and in love, and had to see her boyfriend. Now you're going to think less of me, but I told her, if you go and something happens, don't call me. Right? Call the boyfriend. I can push you out of the ditch or whatever. I'm telling you not to go. If you go, do not call me. Well, I got a call. She was just on the edge of Freeport. She pulled over and called me and said, "Dad's bad." Duh. Okay, now you see the analogy I'm going to use here? God is trying to keep you from struggling in some things. He's giving you warnings, whether it's through people, through the Word, radio, praise and worship. I tried to tell my child, whom I love, don't do it. It's bad. You are going to struggle. This is not going to be good. She did it anyway. And then she called Dad when I told her not to. Now, a loving father, right? I'm going to help my kid. No doubt about it. But I'll tell you what I did. And I'm not saying I'm all good. I would not go after her. I told her on the phone, we had cell phones at the time, she's not that old, and we talked, and I told her what to do, how to do it, how to get through this stuff. Yes, it's not going to be fun. You're going to have to go slow. I want you to stay on the edge of the road, yada, yada, yada. She drove a little ways, stopped and called me again. By now she's crying. She's actually crying out to the Father, "Help me." And of course, I'm sitting at home. I got a four-wheel drive, right? But I allowed this to happen. And I allowed it to happen to teach her how to get through a struggle. And maybe next time she'd listen a little bit more. You know, she was still at that age where she thought her parents were the stupidest people in the world. I knew what was going to happen. Actually, I'm glad it did, because if she would have went through it and got home, she would have said, see, you don't know anything. Don't we treat God that way? But a loving father will help his children no matter what. So, I was trying to teach her. I allowed this to happen, and not only did I not go get her, but I told her, you got yourself into this mess. Here's how I want you to get out of it. I am not coming to get you. You need to learn from this. And of course, she made it home. She was a wreck. 16 years old, little bitty car, had these little wheels on it, you know. You seen those little wheels? Yeah. But she learned. Now, did she learn that she can now get through this? Or did she learn not to do it again? What did you learn? What are you learning? But do you know that a loving father always loves you? Whether he allows it or whether he fixes it. We want things fixed. Abby wanted me to come and get her. I chose to allow her to go through this to learn. What do you do? And what does God do to you? I don't know who's upstairs. I'm sorry I don't. But would you put up Psalm 136:1? I've got two versions here, and I want to talk to you about. Oh, give thanks to the Lord, for he is good, for his mercy endures forever. Now, the other version that's up there says his love endures forever. Do you know what the word endure means? I'm sure that you probably do. But I want you to think about what this is saying right here. This is actually a psalm that David wrote, and the psalms are basically songs. And what they do here is they go through the entire psalm, And where it says his mercy endures forever is actually, there aren't any musicians in here, I think it's called a refrain. So I say something, or God says something, David says something, however you want to read this, and then the audience says, his mercy endures forever. Want to try it once? Okay, I'm going to read the first part, and then you guys do the refrain. Oh, give thanks to the Lord, for he is good. Okay, and then it goes on and on and on. After every statement, there was a refrain, and that's how you're supposed to go through this psalm. So, is it mercy or is it love? The original text says mercy, and some of your paraphrases say love. Which is it? And does it matter? If you have mercy for others, mercy means to hold back what they deserve. That's love. It's putting their needs first. It actually kind of means the same thing here. Now, I want you to go back and think about this endure. Do you think that endure here means lasts forever? It can. Or does it mean to patiently struggle? Do you think God is patiently struggling with us? He is a loving Father. Parents, loving father or loving mother, sometimes struggle with the fact that their children are not doing what they would like them to do, what they've told them to do. I told Abby not to go, and she went anyway. I struggled with that a little bit even before she called me. I asked her not to go. It was dangerous. It was bad. There's a good chance something's going to happen, and she went anyway. And I struggled with that. Do you think God struggles? Do you think God is sad that his love for you is not being thought about? Not being taken seriously? His love endures forever. He will never stop loving you. But he might have some sorrow or some sadness that his love for you is not being received the way that a father would like their children to receive it. Sometimes we take this for granted, that his love is so great, it doesn't matter what I do. You ever felt that way? God's going to love me no matter what. Bible says that. Do you? A loving parent tries to teach their children, allows them to go through struggles. Sometimes they fix it. Sometimes they make them go through it. And then they struggle too with what they've done. When you see your child struggling with something, don't you struggle a little bit too? You want to fix it. You want to help them. How long do you let this go on? His love endures. Whatever you do, he'll never stop loving you. But it doesn't mean he's going to fix it. He might allow it to happen. He might allow it to teach you. Do parents do that? Mine did. And I have to Abby. I have to Chelsea. Sometimes you got to learn. This is actually kind of silly. But Chelsea called me from LA once and said, "Dad, my toilet won't flush." What do you want me to do? She said, she took the top off of it and the little chain in there broke, so her handle was just loose. And I'm like, Chelsea, this is easy. Just grab the chain, reach down in the water, grab the chain, hook it back up again. She wouldn't do it. She didn't realize that was clean water in there, you see? Most of you got to know how a toilet works, right? It doesn't go up. The bad stuff goes down. That's good water in the back. Just reach your hand in there and hook up the chain. No way. I guess you're going to struggle. What do you want me to do? Get on a plane and fix your toilet? Call somebody. See? The Father is trying to tell her how to do it. She won't do it. Now that's actually a silly thing. Reach your hand in the water and hook the chain up. I'm not doing that. Then you're going to struggle. Get yourself a 5-gallon bucket or something. I don't know. But don't call me. I've told you how to fix it. Do not call me again. God do that to you? Now, of course, if things were bad, whether it was Abby alongside the road or Chelsea with a broken chain on her toilet, of course, Dad would fix it. And so will God, because His love endures. But it doesn't mean that He's not struggling with your choices and what you did to get into this situation. You chose this. Now, Chelsea's chain breaking, she didn't choose that, but she chose not to hook it back up again. God is constantly trying to tell us what to do, how to get through things. This book is all about how to cope with life, reality. Now, if this was the book of Glenn, it would say, reach your hand in the water and hook up the chain. This is easy. There's some easy stuff in here to help you cope with the struggles that you're going through. But it doesn't mean that God isn't sorrowful to watch you go through them. How many times have you told your kids, if you would have just done this? Okay, now that you did, do this. Oh, I'm not reaching my hand in that water. Okay. I'm sorry. Gonna have to go down to the 7-Eleven or let it pile up. Now you get to choose again. God never stops loving you, even when He allows you to go through some struggles. He doesn't like watching you go through those struggles. In Psalm, I think it's 30, I was going to blow these notes off because it's cold and I want to go home too. Put up Psalm 103, 8 through 13. This ought to explain quite a bit. The Lord is merciful and gracious, slow to anger and abounding in mercy. He will not always strive with you, nor will He keep His anger forever. He has not dealt with us according to our sins. That'd be the loving Father part, right? Nor punished us according to our iniquities. For as the heavens are high above the earth, so great is His mercy towards those who fear Him. Let that sink in for just a minute. The fear here would not be scared, it'd be in reverence. As far as the east is from the west, so far has He moved our transgressions from us. As a father pities his children, so the Lord pities those who fear Him. I use this pities because it's the actual text. He pities. Pity means sorrow for the misfortunes of. That means that His children are going to have some misfortunes. If you have children and you see them going through a misfortune, you'll be sorrowful. so God is sorry. He is sorrowful and pities those who fear him. This means he doesn't like to see you go through things. He's trying to help you. He's trying to keep you from the struggles. But when you choose wrongly and you are struggling, or something has caused you to struggle that was out of your control, he tells you how to get through them. His love endures forever. He will never leave you. He will never forsake you. But it does not mean that he will not allow you to go through things to teach you. I think we can all understand that. Abby might drive a little different in the snow now. She knows she can call Dad, even when I said, "Don't call me." She still cried out to her father on the side of the road. Things were bad. When I told her not to, knowing that my love endures forever. When you think that God is far away from you, when he's not with you and you're struggling, he is. His love endures. He may be sorrowful watching you go through what you're going through, but there might be a really good reason for it. And I think we've all done that to either our children, our friends, our neighbors, whatever the situation is. This sounds bad, but I use it all the time. Your child walks up to a fire. You grab them and pull them back. Get back, stay back. You'll hurt yourself. They keep doing it over and over and over. If you've ever been camping, I think you all went through this. Abby did it all the time. Every time I kept grabbing her, till finally I thought, let her get a little closer. Sometimes it takes a little heat to turn you from your ways. Let that sink in a minute. She'll never touch a fire again. How about you? You don't like to see your children walk up to a fire. And you're trying to tell them, you're trying to pull them back over and over and over. This would be a loving father fixing the struggle. But sometimes he lets you feel the heat because it's the only way we learn. It doesn't mean that he doesn't love you. It doesn't mean that he's not with you. It means that you need to learn. You got the answers. How often do you turn to this when you're struggling? How often do you seek out the answer? How about when your children are struggling? Do you seek God? Sometimes we love to run to him. Abby called. She ran to the Father. And I said, here's how you have to deal with it. I didn't come and fix it. I taught her how to deal with it. Is he doing that to you right now? Is he allowing you to go through something? Is he trying to teach you? It doesn't mean that he doesn't love you. Abby, I see you're in here now. Would you get your worship team together? I didn't throw you under the bus too bad, but you probably missed the first part. If you ever see Abby sitting along the road, the weather's bad, roll your window down and say, your dad tried to tell you. I'd get out and push you, but your dad said to let you deal with it. Right? It doesn't mean that we don't help people. It doesn't mean that you don't fix the problem. But do any of you have a child or know a child or something that's always gotten everything he ever wanted? All he had to do was ask Daddy for it. Just ask Mommy. They give him anything they want. How's that working for him? It's not how it works. Sometimes you have to learn to struggle. Our struggles are oftentimes minimal, and we don't know it. We whine. I'm a whiner. I was whining this morning. In fact, you see me rubbing my hands together like this the whole time? My hands are cold. Is that whining? You think God's going to fix it? Or you think He's going to allow me to go through this whole hand-warming situation here so I'll know next time to either turn up the heat, get some gloves, right? We have things that we can do to... It's probably not in this book, but it might be. You think your job's tough? How would it look to an unemployed person? You think your child is annoying? How would that look to a couple that's infertile? Is that a word? You think you have a small house or a dirty house or a wrecked house? How do you think your house would look to the homeless? You whine about not having enough money? How would that look to the homeless, to somebody on the street, what you do have? You whine there's not enough food in the cupboard? Come on, you guys. How would your smile look to somebody that's depressed? They'd like to have it. You could give it to them. You could fix it. Or you could just say, I'm going to allow you to go through that. Sometimes we're able to fix things, and that's how God fixes it. He uses us. Are you being part of that? Are you being the smile to the depressed? Are you being the love to those that are unloved? Somebody's struggling with something, and you can simply fix it. Why won't you? Why wouldn't you? You don't oftentimes get to play God. I got to play God with Abby. She sat along the road, and I was God Almighty. Don't call me. I tried to tell you. Do you get the privilege of making that call? Sometimes you do. But sometimes it's our fault, the things that we've caused. Sometimes people struggle with things that were not any of their choice at all. It's something we did. You can fix those. A simple forgiveness, a simple sorry, a simple smile, a simple hug can go a long way. It might fix what they're struggling with. The love that God has for us is amazing. And it's really, really what matters. It doesn't matter right now that my hands are cold. It doesn't matter right now that my car wouldn't start this morning. It doesn't matter right now that I got a bunch of year-end stuff to do. It doesn't matter right now to a lot of people what you're going through either. But it does to God. And all He asks is that you acknowledge His Son. Salvation is available to everyone. His love endures, and it's available to each and every person that will just acknowledge Him, to fear Him. It means to hold in reverence. It's truly what matters. And when this love that you realize moves into your life, it changes you. It messes you up. You've never acted this way before. You actually care about people. You don't want to see them struggle. I can fix that. That's simple. Where you never cared before. When His love comes into your life, It really, truly will mess you up, and you will be a better person. Okay, I gotta tell you the end of the story. Abby gets home. She made it. The father got her through it. He allowed it to happen. She was a mess, and she ran to me. We embraced. She's never been so scared in her life. Thank you for getting me through that. Do you understand? When you get through a struggle, do you realize what the Father's done for you? Do you turn to Him? Do you run to Him? Of course, it's exactly what I wanted to happen. I wanted her to run to me and tell me she was sorry for not doing what I asked her to not do. That making sense? Is God allowing you to go through some junk so that you'll run to Him and tell Him that you're sorry? I'll never do it again. Thank you for getting me through that. Did He have to allow that to happen for you to turn to Him, for you to get close to Him, for you to understand that He has your best interest at heart? He doesn't want to stop you from having fun. He wants to help you and save you from struggles. When she came home and came running to me, wrapped her arms around me, thank you for helping me get through that. I'll never do that again. I know that you told me not to go, but I did it, and I'll listen to you from now on. Didn't go exactly that way, right? Makes for a good story, though, doesn't it? You all getting the picture here? All you remember that part, huh? You understand the analogy? This is the Glenn's parable. She really did call me and everything, but the whole running into my arms, I might have kind of, It's called a parable, right? It's a story so that you'll understand. I think it worked. You got this image of Abby running to the Father, right? Embracing, honey, I've saved you. Right? Best movie ever. But let it just sink in for a minute. Is He allowing you to go through something so that you will run to His loving arms? Could be. Is that what He had to do to make you turn to Him, to make you listen to Him, to make you get closer to Him? It's to let you struggle. Thank God for your struggles. Sometimes you learn from them, and it'll draw you closer to Him. Be glad you have them. What's it take to draw you closer? Does God struggle with you? Is He actually struggling, watching you struggle? A loving Father does that. Let's try to do a little bit better. Let's learn from our mistakes. Let's listen to a loving parent and allow Him to teach us and to keep us from going through some struggles. Let's pray. God, thank you. Thank you for the little things that touch me once in a while, that draws me close to you. Thank you for allowing us to go through some stuff once in a while, to make us understand just how much you love us and how caring you are. You teach us because you love. You want us to be better because you love. God, we love you too, and we'll try to do better. We'll try to do the best that we can. God, let us always give thanks to your Son, who struggled for us when we should have been the ones to struggle on that cross. Let that sink in each and every day as we go through things. It's in Jesus' name we thank you. Amen.